Hello and welcome to episode 75 of the InGeneral podcast. My name's Jack and I'm joined with the original podcast trio, Asees and Chris. How you guys doing?
Hello. I'm back.
It's been a long time since we've all spoken. Since we've all been on a podcast together.
Yeah, the podcast has been it's been gone, eh?
Yeah.
There's not really any other way of explaining it. It has been gone.
I mean, to put it mildly, we've been busy, right? We've been taking a hiatus, refreshing ourselves, if you will, you know.
Yeah, I think the past year's been busy, independently, outside of the website as well for many people. So it was just one of those things. I think it's sometimes people. I mean, I've seen a number of comments online now that kind of assume that we're now in the back pocket of Universal or we're getting paid or something, you know. And it is disheartening sometimes seeing that. You know, I've worked on this website personally since 2008. It's over over 10 years now. You guys have been in not long after that. There's a huge team of people all working for free behind Jurassic Outpost and have done for 10 plus years. So it's kind of,
That's
Outpost,
true. I mean,
Outpost alone is what, 5-6 years now?
Yeah.
Before that, we
Outpost
obviously,
it's still kind of new though. Like,
so sometimes it's disheartening to see comments like that, just assuming that because we went quiet or because we were a little bit in a lull. It's like, yeah, I mean, the people that run this website also have lives outside of the World Wide Web.
It's tough to it's tough to even on the best of terms make time for Outpost, especially because news and content, it doesn't really follow your schedule. But then on top of that, things like the podcast, I mean, we all live in all three of us are in different countries and all three of us are in different time zones.
And, and that doesn't even, when you bring in Ryan, who's the other side of America to you guys.
It complicates things to such a degree that it's really easy for it to get away from you.
And finding
and
actual
the thing is,
suitable time for everybody.
the news has been pretty slow too. Like, it's not like a steady stream of stuff. Like, you know, leading up to the release, like a year before, like there's like a constant bit of news. Like every other day, there's something coming out, something popping off. But like,
it's funny, isn't it? Yeah, and people's personal interest as well changes from news to news. We have a great team of people that cover everything on our website, and
there's been a lot to talk about if you like the Mattel toys.
Yeah, that's very true.
Like they have like single-handedly kind of sustained this franchise, its talking points and just sort of its presence. But
there are some new talking points now, Chris, and there are a couple of things that we have yet to discuss. I mean, literally have yet to discuss. You and I.
Yeah.
Not even that. Let's talk about Camp Cretaceous.
Yeah, let's get into it. Let's get
dive
right
in,
into
Chris.
it,
Jump in. We're going right. This is an OG pod. We're just going straight in.
So Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous is the brand new animated series that's been announced by DreamWorks Animation, and it's going to debut sometime early next year on Netflix. And so it follows it's like a summer camp intern sort of program, and it follows a group of kids or teenagers that are in that program, and then the chaos of Jurassic World happens, and they are somehow left behind. They're on the other side of the island, and they're left behind, and they are forced to kind of band together and struggle for survival.
So in a way, this is kind of, remember the original Jurassic Park 3 script, or pitch at least, that Spielberg had?
Yeah.
Where the teenagers wash up on the island on sauna.
Yeah, in a lot of ways it is. And it also is reminiscent of that old Jurassic World Survivor game.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was more geared towards...
Yeah, it wasn't like kids,
a mature market.
It still is following that same sort of premise and time period.
Sure. And the poster, would you call it a poster, the sort of artwork, the Jurassic World gate in the original Jurassic Park colors. I mean,
it looks good.
There's no fan out there. Yeah, I can't think that doesn't look good. I mean, just the scenery itself.
So I love the idea. So Camp Cretaceous, they say it's on the other side of the island. That's a little confusing because there are plenty of other sides of the island. So in other words, what they're trying to say is it's a part of the island.
This is the other side, Chris. This is the other side of the island.
The other lost. No, so what they're trying to say is it's a part of the island we actually haven't yet seen in like the films. which is totally
Sure.
understandable. If there was like a summer camp or intern program, it's not going to be on the public park maps because it's going to access facilities that normal guests don't have access to. That's the same with like my local zoo. It has a lot of intern and summer camp programs and stuff, or even behind the scenes things, animals that aren't on exhibit but are part of the rehabilitation program. And if that's the case, they're just not on the program because they don't want people to want to go to something they cannot see. So it just looks like it doesn't exist if you look at the map. So yeah, that makes sense to me. I love the idea that this Camp Cretaceous program just happens to use like the Jurassic Park colors, which is cool because like it means that like a lot of like their living facilities and other things I'm hopeful might be more reminiscent of Jurassic Park as well. Maybe that sort of more adventure tiki sort of resort.
I know what you mean. Yeah, the sort of safari.
Safari.
Jungle
That's the
vibe.
word I'm looking for.
Yeah, I think that would be great.
I think it's gonna be an interesting way to do like a lore dump. Like it's gonna be lore heavy. Like throw some like Easter eggs towards the fans. It's gonna be like you know how Star Wars Rebels kind of did it. Like all these cool like Darth Maul's back and like all this stuff between episode 3 and 4. I think that's gonna be Jurassic's version of that. All these cool little bits for the fans.
Exactly. I think what is important for this series, and I think that everyone is thinking the same thing, is they want this to be Jurassic's The Clone Wars or Jurassic Star Wars Rebels, which I mean, Asees, you could probably give a little bit of a better like what are those series to Star Wars? Like,
all right, so
why
basically
are they so
what happens is I mean, it's a story and the characters that like actually propelled the series, but it's like bringing back like all these old like fan favorites like from the previous like series before Disney bought like Lucasfilm. Like they brought back Ahsoka Tano, and like fans went nuts over that, and they had her fight Darth Vader, and like Darth Vader was like Anakin, like she makes that connection. It's like those little bits and like all these old returning characters, little bits from like the prequels into the sequels, just tying things in and like transitioning stuff over.
So what's important to note about those series is the tone of them. They both exist as a cartoon, and they do naturally exist as an animated series or a cartoon that hits the right age demographic. But at the same time, is they don't contradict Star Wars, and they fully sit within they're fully canonical in Star Wars. In fact, the recent live action Star Wars films have had characters from the animated series in them, and moments and creatures and references. And so the thing is they exist as a cartoon or an animated series perfectly fine, yet they also remain consistent with the films. And like
the best part is like they get really dark too. Like it's like a kid's show obviously, but there's some really dark moments. Like it's for kids, sure, but like they understand that like adults are gonna be watching it, and they gear some things towards the adults, which is like the best part. I'm hoping this series kind of does that too, you know.
And they to make it for kids, what they don't do is they don't break the rules of the universe or the rules of just human nature or characters. They find little moments that exist, and they find the proper way. So what you're not going to have is like Looney Tunes like moments, or like kids, you know, like, so like for Jurassic Park, like I said this, like I don't think, nor do I want to see like a kid get in a wrestling match with like a velociraptor and win. You know, for these kids to, you know, obviously I don't think they're going, you know, these teenagers, I don't think they're going to die, but that's totally fine. They just need to make the encounters that they get in believable enough, and appropriate enough. And on top of that, we know there are going to be other people on the island during this time.
I mean, people have to die. People are going to get eaten.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
fact.
Exactly. I think there'll be staff.
Camp counselors.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
And and exactly, I think that you can do dinosaurs eating people. I mean, in the Clone Wars, I haven't seen all of it, but I remember there was an episode where like there were clones infiltrating a base, and they're like scaling a wall or something like that.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And there's like these worm creatures start like jutting out of the wall and like ripping them up and like swallowing them whole and eating them and tossing them. And I'm like, good Lord, this is like.
That's all you need, right?
Yeah, but
you just need a bit of action. That's all you want.
Yeah, but it had people being eaten, and I'm like, okay, this works. And I mean, you have people being decapitated in the Clone Wars, and this is like a Cartoon Network show and everything. You know, so the idea that the show is for kids and can't handle things that are appropriate, like that are part of Jurassic Park's nature, I don't think that's true. I think a lot of people are associating that with a different era of cartoon.
Right. Well, Jack, what's your thoughts on like the Camp Cretaceous stuff? Like, I mean, this is what you always wanted, like a spin-off or like a branch off from the main series. Like, what do you think about all this stuff?
Yeah, I think do we is there any other artwork or images released other than the one of the gate?
Just the poster and
Uh,
then the trailer.
and the teaser, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to see more. I mean, you can tell the animation style from the way the characters look. It's almost kind of Pixar-y, Disney.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
little stylized, but what's
Yeah.
interesting is the dinosaurs are like literally like 1-1 to their film counterparts.
Yeah. I mean, that looks
Yeah.
like Delta, pretty much.
Yeah, it's like a
Or
Delta.
whichever raptor.
It's like Delta and Charlie, sort of both of them. So maybe it's just a generic
Rest in
green
peace.
raptor. I don't know. At
Which
first I
is
thought it
interesting,
was
though, right?
at first I thought it was Delta, and then I was like, oh, but those stripes are very Charlie. But then they don't have the white outlines on them. But then
Yeah.
again, it's hard to say. The silhouette, the model itself, is 100% accurate to the films,
100%.
but the skin itself is a little different. So it's also hard to say, is that Delta, is that Charlie, or is that a different raptor, until we get an idea of how much texture detail they put into each of the models. Like, there's going to be some sort of differences between the film and the animation.
I mean, we've all been talking, especially Jack, like about like wild raptors, and now we're getting like potentially wild raptors in like a TV series, and it's canon, so it's kind of cool thinking that there's gonna be wild raptors on Nublar somewhere.
Exactly, and I think it's so that's like what's really important to me though is this show really understands what it means to be Jurassic Park or Jurassic World really, and how it can fit within the canonical universe. And I think it's important that they really pay attention to these details. And so I think the thing that worries most fans is we've noticed that those details can be missed with like official merchandising and books and things like that. Like things haven't quite had that level of there's no like Pablo Hidalgo like guiding
Oh yeah,
everything
yeah.
for Jurassic
There's
Park.
no like head, right? There's no like story, fucking like. Pardon my language. There's no like it's like a story head essentially, right? Like Lucasfilm has it on point. Like they have an entire story group that's like, kind of working on the shows, the movies, and like linking that stuff together. Jurassic World has Colin Trevorrow, but like. How
But he's
involved
writing.
is he?
He's writing Jurassic World 3. He's working in the pre-production of Jurassic World 3. I mean, he's a busy man. I have
Yeah,
no
exactly.
doubt. I have no doubt in my mind that he is looking things over from the series, among other things. But he's not like writing the series, as far as I know. I mean, he wasn't in the press release. They mentioned everyone that was working on it. He is like they did say that they're working with him. But again, he's a busy guy. He needs
Yeah.
somebody to kind of very specifically do those things for him to make sure everything works. And we haven't really seen that with Jurassic yet, so there's a little bit of apprehension with will they get this right? I know their hearts are going to be in the right place. I have no doubt DreamWorks is a great team to handle this.
Yeah.
I watched prep for this before the announcement. I watched DreamWorks Troll Hunters. It's a series.
Oh, the Del Toro series.
Yeah. It's like it's a 3-season series. The two seasons are longer than the third. It's good. I mean, I'm not saying like totally 100% is consistent with Jurassic Park, but it's totally consistent with the fantasy universe that it lives in. Each episode has a really good arc. It has an ongoing story. It's well written. It's well animated. It's funny. It's fun. It has action. I'm like, yeah. As long as they adhere to the rules of Jurassic, this is a really, these are really good teams, really good studio. Obviously, there's different showrunners, different people, but yeah, no, I think that it's in the right hands.
Oh, absolutely. Like we'll find out more like when we see the Fast and Furious series. I think that's gonna be way more like geared towards kids, just based off the premise itself. Like Vin Diesel's cousin. Like, no, what are you talking about? Right? Like, I think we'll find out that. Like, that's
But I don't
indicator.
think a Fast and the Furious animated series needs to adhere as much. Like Fast and the Furious is sort of wild and actiony and sort of all over the place.
There's no actual like intense lore there.
In a lot of ways, Jurassic Park is competing against like not competing, but it's in the same realm as like Star Wars or the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where it's this really big story that's being told over multiple different forms of media, and so I think that they're going to handle it differently, and I think DreamWorks, even internally, I have no doubt that they're going to want to get this right, and everything about that initial announcement seems like it's geared to tell classic fans, like, don't worry, this isn't just for kids, like we have we're really custom tailoring this to be a Jurassic experience and a Jurassic story.
I do hope that is true. I feel like it's fun, because it's ended up on Netflix kids and children section, hasn't it, as opposed to just regular Netflix.
No, it's on Netflix exciting TV and sci-fi.
For me it's on the child section.
Oh no.
Maybe that's Britain.
That's not a great sign.
Yeah, when I click the link, it just goes to the kids
Let me
section.
see. It says, okay, I just went to their page, and it says Camp Cretaceous, TV, sci-fi, and fantasy, and this show is exciting. Now, no doubt, an animated series is always going to go to kids, though, and that's fine, because, I mean, that's the thing, is like, are we talking kids like are we talking kids like Dinosaur Train, or are we talking kids like Star Wars: The Clone Wars? Because Star Wars: The Clone Wars is still for kids. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's an animated series; it should be for kids. But it can have a stigma against it because sometimes you think it's going to be like a sing along, which is totally fine if that's what they're aiming for. You know, if they wanted to make a dinosaur educational show. No, I mean, if they wanted to make a dinosaur educational show for preschoolers, like in Jurassic, I say go for it. You know, make Jurassic World.
No,
you know, Dino Rangers, and it's like, hey kids, today we're gonna look at a Dryosaurus, and then you hear yay, and then they're like, did you know Dryosaurus? Like, I think an educational sort of kids show would be really cute. Obviously, we'd never watch it, but I think that'd be really cute, and it'd be a great way to educate kids about dinosaurs, have some really cute, exciting animation, and bridge those early years into the Jurassic franchise in an appropriate way. But this obviously...
I mean,
Chris, would they have feathers, though?
There's so many places it could go, and I think this is probably a step in the right direction, at least for fans who were feel a little bit, feeling any of the new stuff that we're getting, or at least don't feel like the franchise is going in the direction they want. I think this is a step in the right direction, and this is where, as you say, Colin and those working on it can really kind of feed into the cravings of original fans.
Yeah, and
I think the art style alone, like as you pointed out, kind of shows that. I mean, you've got the original Rex head logo and colors on that gate, the Rex head circle. It's not, that's the original, and it's just really cool to see that.
And also the teaser they put out, they could have put out like something funny, they could have put out something cute, but they put out really dramatic music. You know, there's a raptor, it's sort of stalking through the woods and attacks the camera. Like, it's definitely scarier than, like, they're trying to show you, like, no, this isn't going to be like a preschool show. This isn't going to be like a young cartoon. It's going to be, I think what they wanted to show you is it's going to be an action, exciting cartoon going for that Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels demograph and reputation. And the tagline during the trailer confuses me. Was it "The evolution has begun"? What evolution? How has it begun? What does it mean?
Yo,
find out.
Raptors, dude.
2020 on Netflix.
The evolution, it's begun, guys. I don't know what that means, but it has begun. But that almost sounds like it has greater meaning for like the overall story, like with a tagline like that. Okay, so, and this is something that's interesting, is the Jurassic World live show, which we have not talked about really. The Jurassic World live show takes place during the same time period. Jurassic World live show, it starts during Jurassic World, and then quickly the Indominus escapes, and then it very quickly takes place after the events of Jurassic World, and it's focusing around the Troodon, and the Troodon was in a dinosaur training program similar to Owen's, less about training the raptors, more about understanding their emotions and behaviors. So, they have technology to kind of understand the emotions of a dinosaur, and to understand the emotions of a dinosaur, then you can kind of tap into a way to ultimately control them. Like, it's still kind of circling around it, but it's a scientific research program with the Troodon.
I like that.
And Troodons it will be the smartest dinosaur. She's smarter. Her name's Jeannie, and she's smarter than the Velociraptors. And she looks like a giant, oversized compy. I don't know what happened with the design. In fact, you can look at the concept art, and they manipulated a compy.
It's different.
It's a compy. No, it's a compy. Like, they straight up.
It's a different, like, it's different from like what you'd want to see a Troodon be. You know,
it doesn't. Well, it literally doesn't look like a Troodon. Like,
it's literally an oversized compy. You're literally right. I'm looking at it right now. It's literally oversized compies.
They need to change the color, and they need to give it sickle claws, and then boom, you have a Troodon. But also, I think a simple change to the head shape, because that is a compy head. I don't know, something went wrong in the development of that. I think that they started referencing. I honestly think they started referencing compy art for like placeholder, and then when it went to like,
no way, man.
And then
no way, they're not that
I have a
bad.
picture. It's in their one trailer they released where they show the concept art, and it's literally a Photoshop of the compy maquette.
And if that's the case, that's very sad.
And they extended the limbs and they made the body fatter, but it's a photo manipulation of the compy maquette. And yeah, I mean, it just I think that somewhere along the line, the art team didn't know that they were referencing compy works, so they just kind of followed it one to one. I really don't know. Either way, the design, I'd like to not consider the Troodon design canon because I mean they told me that there's a small chance they might change it, but they didn't sound very.
I
They
mean, isn't
didn't
the show
sound very
touring now though?
confident. No. It doesn't start till the fall. I mean, they didn't even have the
Oh,
T Rex.
gotcha.
The T Rex isn't even finished. So
Oh, the T-Rex looks good from the stuff that you
Yeah.
posted on Jurassic Outpost. Make sure you guys check out JurassicOutpost.com, by the way, for the best
Yeah, I
and
heard-
latest Jurassic World news.
I hear that website's
It looks
pretty
great.
good. Yeah, no, the T Rex is looking great, and honestly, I mean, you can't necessarily fix the design of the Troodon at this point. Like maybe you can reshape the head, maybe I don't know, but what they could probably do is repaint it at least so it looks a lot less like a Troodon. I mean, a compy.
I mean, as long as fans voice their opinions on it, maybe they might look into it. But like,
Well, it's nuts because
that's
Troodons
not
have
the
sickle
biggest
claws,
thing, you know.
and it doesn't have
See, I
sickle
don't
claws
even know.
either.
I don't even know that.
Yeah, Troodons
I
are
don't
like
even know.
they have sickle claws like raptors. They're like big headed. They have like these sort of really big domes on the back. That's why it's the smartest raptor in Jurassic Park because the Troodon fossil that they found, they're like, wow, these things had huge brains. They were really smart.
Right. Sure.
So that's what they're referencing. But it doesn't look like that. The design doesn't look like that. So I don't know. What that's a tangent. What I'm getting to.
No, well, hang on, no, it's not though. Because here's the thing: if it's set in the same time frame as Camp Cretaceous, like, you think we're gonna get some crossover? Like, are we gonna see
That's-
Genie and like all that? I think
So
we might.
that's what I hope for. Is there's this whole other. We know that researchers remained on the island to work with the Troodons. We know that during Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, about 6 months after the events of Jurassic World, we know that they returned to get the Indominus Rex fossil. But who's not to say that other people weren't there back and forth trying to exploit the island's resources before then, or just trying to clean it up.
Exactly.
So I think
Sure.
that we have an opportunity to run into people. But so if we're running into other people and seeing these other things, we also need a good excuse for them not helping the kids, which means they tend to have to run into the sort of less than savory type. However, I don't like the idea of people being so evil that they're not helping kids. I like the idea of them trying to help them, but it just not being on their like top of the list. So like when they eventually lose sight of the kids or
Right.
something like that, it's like, well, they're probably dead. Oh well, let's get out of here. Nobody can know we're here. We tried to save them. Oh well. Like I think it's things like that that can make the human characters that are evil, but not like evil, that will really help flesh out the franchise and feel more natural. Because honestly, if you had people like exploiting it, like, you know, stealing dinosaurs from an island and they found a bunch of kids stranded on the island, there's a good chance they'd save those kids and then just drop them off on like the nearest land and then, you know, get out of there and be like, you don't tell anyone. But at the same time, knowing the kids will tell someone, but like, also knowing that they covered their own
Don't tell
tracks. I mean, yeah, I mean, like, realistically, they'll be like, don't tell them we're stealing the dinosaurs. And it's like, yeah, okay, yeah, we won't, just save us. And they're like, yeah, they were totally stealing dinosaurs.
Oh, dude,
Yep. But
they can go
you
so
know,
ambling with this. I just thought about that. Like, if they have like notorious, like weird, like no good kids, like they can go so ambling with this. It's gonna be ridiculous.
oh yeah,
you
I
know?
mean, like, you know, and you can also get that sort
Wow.
of like Swiss Family Robinson, like living off
Yeah.
the land sort of type of. I don't know. I'm excited.
Well,
I think
here's the thing. It has to be a limited series, though, right? Like they can't like crank this out for like 3, 4, 5 seasons. It has to be like
Maybe it'll
one and
end
done,
with
right?
the. Maybe it'll end with like the kids getting volcanoed up. You know, shriveled up. It's just the last. It's like that'll be a good ending though. You know?
they're actually like right. They're
They
running.
wake up in their little island paradise. They're riding dinosaurs. It's like Dinotopia. You know, they figured it all out, and then boom.
And they all die.
Death.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I mean,
that'll be fun.
I think though for the season length time, they said it's multi-season, but yeah, I don't think it's going to be like an ongoing series. Like it looks like a lot of the Netflix animated series tend to have 3-season arcs. I
Okay,
know
cool.
with the Troll Hunters stuff, is it's part of an extended universe. So after the 3 seasons of Troll Hunters were ran, then I think it was called like 3 Below, and now there's multiple
3
seasons
Below.
of Three Below, and then there's going to be another series. I forget what it's called, but they're all part of the Tales of Arcadia universe. So I could see them doing things like that. It's like, okay, the kids show about the kids stranded on the island might finish, but like characters that were introduced, like, you know, you might find some park researchers, like eventually you might get another limited run series about like those characters.
Oh, you know for a fact, like Zara and like Lowry and Vivian, like the booth operators, they're gonna definitely play a part in this.
Oh, because
It's a guarantee at this point, right? Has to
yeah,
be.
well, I think we know that they probably get off the island, but before then, we also know that these kids are on the island while the park is open, and
Yeah, and they know that for a fact too.
I think what we're going to see is while the park is open, I don't think the series is going to kick off with chaos right away. I
No.
hope that they'll spend a few episodes letting us explore the park and maybe seeing the parts of the park that we never saw. I think that would be really cool. Is a few episodes
Well,
just like letting the kids shovel dino dung and I don't know, check a triceratops' temperature and things like that.
yeah, come to
And
Camp Cretaceous where you can pick up dino shit.
well, no, I mean, really, that's what an intern program would be like. Work with the animals, but you're also going to have to do some, gross, heavy labor. And, that's what those jobs are. You're working with the animals.
I mean, we all know that Jack loves Claire, right? Favorite character?
Yeah, I think she's wonderful.
Yeah, you read the book too, right? You read the book, the Claire Evolution of Claire.
I'd never read
Aziz,
Evolution of Claire. No.
Did you read it?
I've read 3 chapters so far. I'm working my way through. But the exciting part is I'm hearing people talk about how there might be a tie-in. Like how apparently the book talks about like some other stuff going on the island. This might be one of them apparently.
No, okay, so the time era isn't right because that's when Claire was like 17.
Right.
But
Sure,
that was like in 2005. But
there you go then.
the program that Claire is in is an intern sort of program, and it's before the park is open. Oh, so it's 2004. It's right before the park is open. But what I think Camp Cretaceous is an evolution of that intern program, that sort of summer camp intern program, but like for while the park is open. So it's no longer like come in before we're open type of thing. It's more of like, yeah, we've continued that program to work with like, that age group, and it's a bit of a it's a summer camp, but it's more of a intern type thing. That's what I think we're going to be looking at.
I think it'll be fun either way. I mean, it's not, I still am down for some sort of gritty, dark, mysterious TV show. I think a lot of people want that, but I think this is going to be cool. And I think as I said before, the art style shows that they know OG Jurassic Park, and I think like you said, it could feel very Amblin. I mean, Amblin and DreamWorks are basically the same company now, so
I mean, Steven Spielberg, it's the same thing, right?
Yeah, so let's just hope, and I feel like it's kind of Goonies-y. Get a bit of a Goonies vibe looking at that poster.
Yeah.
So
I would love that.
Goonies.
I think it could be fun.
Goonies meets Swiss Family Robinson meets Jurassic Park.
Yo, give me some ET as well. Want some ET in that?
No, true. Speaking of animated series, though, I mean, you dropped something pretty epic last week, Chris, or the week before.
Yeah, that was like the week before, I think.
Yeah, a couple of weeks back now.
Yeah, The Lost World, the animated series, was a thing.
It was a thing. I knew it was a thing. I told them. I said.
It was.
Give us a quick background, Chris.
It was bonkers. So alongside the development of The Lost World Jurassic Park as a movie, Steven Spielberg commissioned an animated series that would follow it up. And the animated series was going to be a primetime television series with state-of-the-art animation.
DreamWorks Animation.
It would be, I think once a week at night or something like that. It was primetime TV. And it was meant to be kind of darker, grittier, but very 90s. So we're talking probably like more like G.I. Joe action hero, maybe Johnny Quest.
Sure.
But it was so there's not a lot known about the plot. I was only able to get like certain details, but what we do know is they were exploring hybrids to or I'm not even sure if they were hybrids as much as genetic manipulation, but they were exploring the chaos gene, the chaos element,
the chaos theory,
which is probably what led to the chaos effect toyline, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, apparently a lot of those ideas were then quickly reshuffled and then found so in The Lost World. So this was in development around 1996 and 1997, and it only was in development for about 6 or 7 months before it was shut down for what I was told was like political machinations. whatever that means.
What does that mean?
I personally think what it is I think Steven Spielberg shut it down because he realized things were getting kind of crazy, and well, it wasn't even bad. I think that this was before the era of transmedia universes, so cartoons were never meant to be canon during that era. But I think that there was still a certain point where like things were getting so weird that it's like, oh, is this too weird? Is this going to contradict where I'm going with JP3? Is this
it's
going
too Godzilla?
Or yeah, I mean, because there were literally like 3-headed dinosaurs.
Yeah,
I'm just looking at this now.
Yeah,
I mean,
me too, man. It's weird.
I mean, this is nothing. I mean, there's not even a similarity between this and The Lost World in the way, you know. It's just so strange.
It's bonkers.
This was the direction Spielberg was going with the movie in one direction, and coinciding with that, he was producing, or at least had commissioned this, thrown down a bunch of ideas, and it's just hybrids and robot suits, and
like mech suits fighting a velociraptor.
Mech suits, yeah, but some of the concept art is incredible.
Well,
it's great. It's what I want to see. It's like dark.
No,
and
you don't want to
mysterious
see this. Come on.
Raptors hunting
you
Triceratops.
don't.
No,
well,
like,
okay,
not the hybrid
Raptors,
stuff. Look at some of this art.
Raptors hunting.
Look at some of this art.
Okay, I love the art of the raptors stalking the workers
just
in the village.
Just the shot, the worker running through. Yeah, the village shot.
That's
You've
great.
Got the.
But
that is very Lost
and I'm
World.
sure
that
we'll
is
get
all
that.
Like InGen Village and things like that, and the plane at the end. But then you scroll up and you see a 2-headed, triple the size of a normal T-Rex. Frickin', what do they call it? Doomsday.
Yeah, the Doomsday Rex.
Why?
What a fucking name.
Why?
Doomsday
I mean,
Rex.
I guess it works with TV,
Dude,
right?
Steven
That makes
Spielberg
sense.
is crazy.
He is crazy.
Clearly.
And then there's a 3-headed sort of weird hybrid. What do they call that one? I can't even make that out. The 3-headed demon thing.
Oh, I think that's also the Doomsday. There were just different. There were different.
No, that's got a completely different.
Yeah, I
name,
mean, he
but
was
something
exploring different
mutant.
concepts, like different. Like it was at that development stage where one it kind of had like a slug body, the other one was more like a T-Rex.
Strange.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
It really is strange. And the human artwork just pretty much looks like the Chaos Effect toy line.
Yeah, I mean,
which is funny.
Yeah, I mean, some of like the idea of a mech suit did evolve into the Chaos Effect toy line. We have concept art of the mech suits where it looked more like the concept art in the cartoon, and then it eventually became more of a power loader suit from Aliens in the Chaos Effect toy line, and then it was never released. But it evolved.
It's just
it's bonkers.
Fascinating, really, to see. Yeah, it is. There's no other way to describe it. It's very much gives you the same impression when you read the sales script and just how kind of crazy and out there that went with such a core idea of Jurassic, and it just kind of, it's like what did you take, man, when you started writing this?
Well, it's like even
like John Sayles, like what was he?
It's like
what did he drop before he took that? Before he started writing that?
Sweet Bill LSD.
It just came out of nowhere. It was ridiculous.
Well, like a month or so back, or maybe a little bit longer, Lewis Lee, Jurassic Korea, on Twitter, he had posted a thing from the Lost World making of book, or one of the making of books that he had access to, that in the interview, they even say in the Lost World Jurassic Park, in early versions of the script, they also had like a super genetic raptor. And they explored that for a while before they dropped it, but it was like there was going to be like one raptor that was like a genetic manipulation super raptor.
Hang on. Which movie? Which movie?
In the Lost World. In the Lost World, and Steven Spielberg
hang on.
eventually dropped it because he didn't want it to become a monster film. But yeah, no, even the Lost World almost had like a hybrid dinosaur type of creature in it.
But that's fascinating. Spielberg didn't want it to become a monster
But
movie.
he also is the one that kept pushing these monster movie elements.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You're pushing this animated series, which does make them monsters, and then Jurassic Park 3, we can forget that one, but going into Jurassic World, the hybrids and all that.
I mean,
and having
Jurassic
the big
Park
monster
3
movie.
was very much a monster movie with the Spinosaurus.
That's what I'm saying.
it
We can
was.
skip over that because Spielberg he didn't direct that one, so it just I think Jurassic Park 3 just kind of fell into this. Well, we all know the whole story of 5 weeks before throwing the script, ended up with that. I think it could have had I think Jurassic Park 3 would have been a lot better than what we got. And that's not to say I dislike Jurassic Park 3. The more I watch Jurassic Park 3,
The
I
more
watched
you
it
love it.
recently. I fucking love that movie, man.
Yeah, you do.
It's a
Yeah, you
great
do.
movie.
Yes, dude.
It is. It's
Finally.
easy Jurassic Park, you know? It
Finally.
is.
It's a quick in and out.
Chris.
Quick in and out, right?
Yeah. Do you know what? I watched
Just
it twice
dose
in
and
one
you're done.
night.
It's a quick dose.
We watched it twice in one night. Come on. You can't.
Exactly. There we go. I love it.
I did a real Asees.
my favorite was was that when we were in Philly? And every time we walked in the room, like Asees would just be watching The Lost World again and again. We're like, we thought you hated this
dude,
movie.
I watched The Lost World yesterday. I literally watched it yesterday, and like it's not bad. It's not bad at all. I kind of like it.
Not bad. He's getting there, guys.
I'm
He's
getting there. I'm working my way up a little bit. For sure.
I have the biggest, most joyful smile on my face now. And in my heart.
There you go.
Hearing Asees say that. But seriously though, we talk about all this extra stuff. We talk about video games and things that come with each movie and all the animated series that were promised. And honestly, out of the whole era of it, it's always Lost World to me. The art style, everything comes back to Lost World. Sure. Like the things that excite me the most, even like the artwork that they use on the toys back then, and just things like that. I really get.
It's interesting you like the toy art. I've never liked the toy art, and I think it was because of that use
that ugly Rex.
That Rex using the maquette
so
and like
bad,
its eye. Yeah,
so
it just was
ugly.
a really bad choice. It was not like render ready, so like it was like it was this goofy looking box art. The colors were cool, but like just the way they comped it together, I'm like. Ugh.
Yeah, I have to admit, I like the reverse when they have everything together. Like when I was a kid, I used to really like
on the back,
seeing all the scenes made together with all the little like the jungle set that they'd made and stuff. I don't know. I liked all that with Lost World especially. I think it's just a nostalgia thing, right? You go with what you remember most as a kid.
Yeah, no, I mean that's understandable.
And it is obviously the first one as well, but it's just Lost World. But JP3, it's coming up. It's coming up.
Oh my god!
As that movie matures, it gets better, man. It gets better. Honestly, seriously,
it does.
The plane crash sequence.
Go back and watch
it. I watched it again and again. It's damn good. It is
fun
damn
time.
good.
It's a good time, dude.
For me, Jurassic Park 3 at this point just feels like it slogs on. It's such a short movie. It's incredible. That's incredible. I've brewed coffee for longer time than
we're at the end.
Jurassic Park 3, and yet somehow sometimes it can just feel like I don't know. I can just really appreciate a lot in Jurassic Park 3. There is a lot to appreciate, but there's also you can feel the production deadline.
It's rushed.
And you can feel the lack of a story, and you could just that movie itself.
You definitely can.
And everyone who worked on it, even like that production crew shirt that I had posted to the Outpost Instagram like a month or so back, where they're like, well, at least it's over, or like whatever, or like, oh no, the budget ate another page of the script, or something like that. It was just like you could tell that everyone worked on that movie. They knew it was a mess.
They were
just glad to be over.
And we know that. We know
for
it
being a mess of a movie, it's not a mess. Like it works. It has a beginning, middle, and end. It's just very unambitious.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it doesn't push the franchise in any
direction. And it feels like a monster movie, and that's my biggest issue.
Yeah. And you were always right about it's as if Joe Johnston, he should have shot the animatronics better.
I don't think
the Spinosaurus just feels like a robot with a moving head. Yeah. Because you're seeing too much of it in the frame. It's weird.
It's weird. They had the most complex animatronic, and yet the Spinosaurus, you look at it and you're like, that seems like really fake because it just moves like a robot. And like Jurassic Park and The Lost World, every shot with the animatronics, you're like, oh my god, that's a real dinosaur. And then Jurassic Park 3, you're like, yeah, that's definitely a big robot because of the way it moves.
Less is more.
Yeah, you could
because a lot of the time when Spielberg chose to show the animatronic, like Rex size animatronic, it would just block the frame.
Yeah.
You'd either get it blocking a window, or like the scene in the trailers, which is one of the best scenes in the franchise.
Or it was scenes
when the Rex comes either side of them, the scale is insane.
Yeah,
they're literally looking at the eye. The eye is like the size of a frickin'. It's ridiculous. But that's why it works so well. And then you see broad daylight Jurassic Park 3, a Spinosaurus that's stationary and the head is just moving.
But the Raptors work so well, though.
The Raptors
work so well.
They're the best in the franchise.
That's seamless. It really is seamless.
It is.
When it goes from an animatronic and then the shot pans and you get a
CGI.
Complete VFX.
The CGI is the best. I think
you're pointing them out, and that's daylight too. That's daylight too. You look at that VFX there, right at the end when they're trying to get the eggs back, and then you look at the Jurassic World's raptors, and it's insane how far apart those were.
Jurassic World's
Daytime
raptors
scenes,
are
sandy ground,
Jurassic World's raptors are in so many different ways more technically advanced. Their models are more detailed. Their texture is more detailed. I'm sure the lighting is more
But they're
complex.
showing too
There's so much.
though.
There's muscle. There's all this. There's incredible artistry.
But it doesn't matter
But
because it looks
the
like
Jurassic
shit.
Park 3 raptors
what's the point?
are the most real they've ever looked in their CG form.
Yeah,
and
agreed. They just look so well in that location.
They knew how to shoot
the
them.
The environment was perfect, and that's something I learned when they maybe a year or two ago when they dropped some never before seen like behind the scenes Lost World footage. Just came up on YouTube. I don't think anyone had seen it before, and it was just it was head of ILM Dennis Muren holding up a maquette of the Stegosaurus in the location where they're filming the Stegosaurus, and they're taking reference pictures to how the light would bounce on this maquette, and it's just the level of detail that went into that.
It's not that they don't do this, but the thing is,
oh no, you see them. They do it in the Jurassic World behind the scenes. It's just an amazing detail that a lot of people don't realize. Is that if they don't do that, then they have no idea how the light's actually going to hit this creature that they're putting in the environment. It's just cool to see.
And I mean, it's one of those things. Like, I don't know. It's become very popular. Have you watched like any of those VFX artists react videos?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
And it's really interesting because they talk a lot. They talk about the things that we've talked about before. It's like, well, while it's more technically realistic, you have things like, the eye. You could tell they wanted the eye to really show, so they eliminated the shadow off the eye, or like they boosted the saturation. And they talk about like why a lot of these modern VFX films are so much more advanced. And then they're like, and then somebody comes in and says, yeah, but you can't really see the effects, so I want people to see the colors, and then it just completely falls apart from there. And that is exactly one of those things that we're having with some of the modern films. It's just like, they want to show off the artistry. And what happens is it no longer feels realistic. And I think that's something that is more prevalent in Jurassic World.
And I think it's something, if people don't see that, I think it's worth going back and watching the original movies and realizing just how dark they are. The blackness of the frame is black. It's true black. You can't see there is detail there. Whereas modern digital film, shot digitally, a lot of the time they don't crush those blacks. They keep...
Well, keep in mind, Jurassic World was shot on film.
Detail in there. It's so bright. Yeah, Jurassic World was shot. But we all know the grade of Jurassic World was something that kind of repulsed you, especially Chris.
But yeah.
The blue.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's funny though. It's like it's not even just blue. It's hard. It's the easiest way to encapsulate. It's like, oh, it's very cold looking, but like some of the frames are sort of like yellowish blue, which is a weird thing to say. But like,
it's almost as if the shot that everybody compared the most, the helicopter arriving at the island in Jurassic World.
Yeah,
and it just looks so blue and weird.
It just,
I think,
it looks like there should be storm clouds, and like, I don't know, like the color grade doesn't match what you're seeing. Like your eyes, like you don't go out and see that. I don't know, and it's not like,
to me, it looks more like the white balance is off. It just seems like it's wrong. Like it's too.
It makes everything look a little
and...
dull. Like with like the shots of Main Street that I was looking at, I had to like change the color value just to see, like, everything almost felt like there was like a smudge on the lens, and like changing the color value changed it. And like, but there are also shots where it looks great because it actually adds to the atmosphere. There's just some shots that I obviously, and it's personal taste as well, but what I was going at is Fallen Kingdom was shot digitally. But also some of its effects were absolutely stunning.
I think some of the best practical and CGI effects in the entire series.
There's like virtually no practical effects left in the film.
Are you kidding me?
Really? You think that looks good?
In which sequence? In which movie? Sorry.
Fallen Kingdom. You think the Stampede looks good?
I think it looks fantastic.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I guess you know what? Fair. Visually, it looks good. I think
it's the most impressive sequence, I think.
It feels cartoony to me. It feels very cartoony. Okay. Yeah, but that comes down to dinosaur behavior. That comes down to animation.
No, I don't care about that stuff at all.
I think you do. I mean,
I
just don't think you know
anything about dinosaurs.
You don't need to know anything about it. I'm just talking. It doesn't feel natural. It feels very cartoony. Yeah. All the dinosaurs. There's no.
Oh, it does, like the Allosaurus that kind of looks at Claire before it ggets wiped out. It's like. It's just a bit weird. It doesn't. It looks cartoony is the right way to put it.
It reminds me of Peter Jackson's King Kong.
Sequence. Yeah, it does. But Dusty.
I like that Stampede in Kong more. But again, technically, yeah, you're right. The CG there is It's good, but you can't necessarily appreciate it as
No.
much as you can in like Jurassic Park 3, because that scene with the Velociraptor, a lot of the scenes with the Velociraptors just feel so real.
I think as well, when you watch Jurassic Park 3, for me, the thing that I really enjoy about it is that it feels like you're entering completely different parts of the island, and they don't hide that. You know, when you arrive at the birdcage, it's a thing.
Yeah.
And you just, the whole feeling of the movie changes. You
sense of
feel
progression.
encapsulated by
You're
this
moving around.
location. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know the movie has flaws, but it's just the more you watch it, the more it just feels right like that. And I personally didn't get that from Jurassic World. It just kind of felt the same throughout. Whereas Lost World and Jurassic Park 3 as sequels, yeah, I do feel like they're showing you more, and they're like taking you deeper into the island each time, and that's something I really enjoyed.
Well, guys, we could talk about how Jurassic Park 3 is the best in the franchise all day. I can talk about it all day. But
We'll do a VFX podcast as well.
Yeah, that's the
comparing
next
all the
podcast.
VFX. I think that'll be fun. I think that'll be good.
yeah, so I think it's a good
We're not
good place
VFX
to
experts.
wind down the episode here, and we have Corey's episode still to listen to.
Well,
So
Corey,
Yeah, you had a chat with Corey, didn't you?
I did.
it's not
He's
his
a very
episode.
cool guy, guys.
it's
the
his
next
episode.
it's his segment. Well, no, I thought it was in this episode, but
It is
segment
sure.
to follow.
Now it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Cecil will figure it out in the
I'll
edit,
figure it
I
out,
guess.
guys. Don't worry about it. All right.
Do it live.
We'll do it live.
See, that made me so uncomfortable. You guys kept screaming that in LA. It made me very uncomfortable.
When were we screaming that? I don't remember
The
that.
entire
were we?
road trip, I was like, "Fuck it, we'll do it live." The entire time,
You're probably
Fuck it.
sleep
like at the
deprived.
top of your lungs. The top of your lungs. It was the worst. I hated it.
Every time we'd shout your name when we went by a cliff face. Asees! I literally, sometimes while driving, I will just yell Asees if I'm by like a sharp cliff, and people
I
have
appreciate
no
that.
idea
Thank
what the
you.
hell is going on.
Yeah, I know what
I'm
you
like,
mean.
I can't explain it. Just don't worry about it.
Asees!
Asees!
I can't. I vague memories of saying that, but yeah, I'm pretty sure the entire trip. Fuck it! We'll do it live.
I hate it. I hate it so much. Well, guys, it's
All
been
right,
incredible.
well.
OG3 back together again. This is
Yeah,
the pod's
OG3.
back.
It's been
The pod's
nice.
back, guys.
It's been a good chat, and honestly, to everybody out there, to all the Outpost readers and watchers and people that are on our YouTube, on our various feeds, thank you for staying tuned with the Outpost. We've got some incredible staff working very hard, pumping out material, including, of course, the wonderful Chris. But I think, there's some exciting things coming to the Outpost. We got a bit of an update coming to the
Ooh,
website.
we're talking about that.
Just,
Ooh,
keep it a
exciting.
little clean, keep it a little flashy, but 2019 in there, maybe some 2020.
I love it.
But yeah, no, it's good, it's looking good, and there's some really nice stuff coming.
Do you know when people can expect that, or is it going to be?
Absolutely goddamn not. But from the current build, it looks very good. We are very close.
does.
It's just
It's beautiful.
as we were saying at the start of the pod, it takes a while. Everybody's doing this in their spare time, so it's one of those things. Sometimes life gets in the way.
I mean,
but
I've literally, at work written articles from the back of an ambulance because I'm working, and it's like, it's about making time.
it is about making time,
Yes.
but we're doing it. And from now, I mean, things start to really pick up from here. We're going to start hearing some stuff soon about the future of the franchise, including the wonderful Jurassic World 3, which we're all so excited for. So
I am. I don't know about you guys. I am.
Yeah. Oh,
That's gonna be
I'm
interesting.
definitely excited.
We'll do a pod. We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it once or twice, yeah, for sure. Admin, yeah. Well, anyways, guys, thank you for listening to episode 75, the epic return of InGeneral podcast. Before we end it off, I'm going to do a quick transition into part 2 of the episode, a quick little discussion of some news topic and bits and bytes with Corey Anderson. Enjoy. Welcome to InGeneral Podcast, episode 75. That's right, you're hearing a brand new voice for some of you guys, or for some of you longtime listeners, an old voice. That's right, CC Boy is back. He's back in the podcasting producing chair. The podcast is back, and I'm with a new friend, or long-term friend, it depends on how long you've been with us, Corey Anderson. Corey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Cease?
I'm good, man. I'm very nervous being back in the chair. So if we have any flubs, guys and listeners, let's slide. It'll be better for next time.
We're gonna be perfect. We're gonna be perfect.
Oh, see, that's the pressure. The pressure's already on now. So basically, we're back to the pod. The pod's back, and the schedule's still to be determined. But we're looking at hopefully at least one episode every 2 weeks. We do have a lot of people on the team now, which makes podcasting a lot easier in terms of gathering people and having a bunch of new voices, which is really cool. Like Corey, how many podcasts have you done so far?
This is my very first podcast ever.
Oh, it's fun.
The first one,
fun
man.
times, eh?
I'm excited.
I'm excited. It's the first time we've also talked like in person. I think ever. So this is gonna be a fresh experience for everyone.
We'll work it out.
I hope so. I'm sure it'll be fine. We're a fun group of guys and girls.
That's right.
If you guys are listening to the podcast and wondering where have we been for like the past 6 or 7 months and like the sporadic podcasts, 7-month gaps and stuff. Basically, on behalf of like everyone else and the rest of Outpost, that was before Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom came out. We just want to say that Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom kind of zapped our enthusiasm for doing podcasts. But we've kind of taken like a semi hiatus from the podcast and like long breaks. But now we all have our mojo back and we're all ready to keep it going. Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom was kind of like not what we expected, but we've kind of learned to live with it and like find things we love about it. And that's kind of given like some of that mojo back. I'm not sure how it was with you, Corey. How was the Fallen Kingdom for you?
It was not what I expected, I will say that. But part of the fun part about Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom for me was kind of getting more involved in this community and going with some of the Outpost folks to LA, going out there to see it at the premiere. We went to Universal Studios and went to the theater out there. And we had a lot of fun. Just everything surrounding it was probably the best part of it for me. Oh,
wow. You were actually down there for the premiere and stuff?
I didn't go to the premiere, but we went to like the first day it came out. We went to the midnight showing at Universal. We had a bunch of friends there. We had a good time. We spent the whole day at Universal Studios, rode the ride a few times, and we had a good little vacation out there. It was fun.
The last thing I said about Jurassic World was like the best part about the movie, other than the movie, was the fact that it brought like all these people together. And the fact that Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom is still doing that now is very exciting for me. Like, it just shows the power of the movies itself. Like, it's not about the movies. The movies are great. But, like, it's the power that it has of bringing people together and making just brand new friends. I think that's the biggest thing that Jurassic has going for it, in my opinion.
Yeah, with social media and the internet being what it is, it's so much easier to connect with people today in this kind of era of the Jurassic movies than it was back when Jurassic Park and The Lost World and Jurassic Park 3 were coming out. So it brings a whole new facet of it, of just connecting with people in the community, which is what I really like about this sort of Jurassic fandom.
And the best part about that is there's a lot of Jurassic stuff coming out in the next little while, and until Jurassic World 3. So we just want to talk about some important news bits since the new year to essentially right now. But we'll be doing this in 2 parts of episodes. So me and Corey will be handling a couple of things here. And then the old guys, the Jacks, the Chris's, the Ryans, and the Alexes will be back for a part 2. And we'll get this Outpost InGeneral train going. So the first thing we want to do, the OGs, the dads of the group, the old men, if you will. And of course, new people will be jumping in, of course, every other episode and stuff. It'll be a good time. But to start, new Lego Jurassic World short, Legend of Isla Nublar, accompanied with new Lego sets that are coming out in this year, of course, 2019. There's going to be 13 episodes to the actual little short there, and a bunch of new sets. Of course, the biggest one I think everyone is going to be like going for will be the Baryonyx Face-Off, the Treasure Hunt. Comes with Claire, Owen, some fun guys, a dog, and of course a brand new figure, the Baryonyx. Very cool, very exciting. Have you looked at these new sets, Corey? What do you think about them?
I do. I have. They seem really cool. I've always been a fan of kind of how Lego has interacted with Jurassic and kind of the sets that they've put out. It's always fun just kind of building a dinosaur yourself kind of thing, and the sets that go around it. And I'm really excited to see some of these sets. You got the Triceratops Rampage. It looks really cool, and just how all these hopefully will be interacting with the show when that comes out too.
Oh, my favorite thing I just noticed right now, like the dinosaur mech battle versus the T-Rex, the mechanical T-Rex. It has that classic like jungle explorer vibe. I'm kind of wondering if it like transforms into like the jungle explorer. That'd be very interesting to find out.
Yeah, it's sort of like a Transformers kind of mix We're getting into the
Yeah.
Transformers vibe. But yeah, I'm looking at that right now. It does, the color scheme on that is really classic Jurassic Park Explorer. It looks really cool, and I'll pick one of those up for sure.
Exactly. Like the thing with me was with Jurassic World, I bought all the sets and I still have them. Like they were so like well produced and like high quality items. And with Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, I kind of found that they took a step back. They were kind of smaller scale and
Yeah.
like weren't as in depth. But like these are like hardcore like fan stuff. I'm wondering if you can like take all three sets, all three like lines, and put them together to make some like cool like fan creations. I can't wait to see what comes out of that. You know?
Yeah, that would be really cool. Because I mean, these all, I mean, they look like they're set in different, at least from the boxes. It looks like they're set in different areas, but put them together like that. I mean, you could essentially make your own little Jurassic World in your house,
Yeah.
which would be really cool. And I like,
Exactly.
at least with the mech battle, the art that they've got on that is fantastic. It almost harkens back to the Jurassic Park novel because you've got a little boat that's going down a river there and a raft.
Oh yeah, the
which
raft,
is
eh?
which is really really cool. That's really really cool. Good to see.
Yeah, so that's the most expensive set coming out at $90 US, and of course the cheapest one is going to be $20 as usual. It's a Dilophosaur on the loose. The Baryonyx set is going to be 60. Triceratops is going to be 60 as well, and then of course the other the T-Rex set with the mech T-Rex coming at 90, which is pretty fair price. It has our best friend Vic Hoskins, and like for a Lego set, it's a little bit, Lego's pricey. It's not cheap. It's
Right.
Yeah. So if you guys hold on to the sets, like they jump in value like crazy. Like that one set will be like $130, 140 in a couple of years itself. And
Absolutely.
that's stuff that's like gold, dude. Like hang on to it. Don't even open it. Just buy it for
Right.
like, the looks.
It's an investment.
It pretty much is, dude. It's an investment. That's why I made money when I was a younger child.
There you go. There you go. Run in the streets and the playground with your Jurassic Park Legos.
That's what the kids are doing these days, right? Not the Beyblade, not the Yu-Gi-Oh, not the Pokemon. It's like Lego.
No, it's Lego. That's exactly what it is.
But like looking at the sets itself, it kind of reminds me of like just the theme park that we're gonna get. Like there's gonna be a new theme park for Jurassic World opening up this summer in LA, right? Like how pumped are you for that?
I am very very excited. Just the following all the updates to the ride and everything like that. It looks promising. I'm happy for it.
Yeah, like I'm gonna be going to LA at the start of August, I think it is now, and I'm just like praying on my knees every single night that the ride will be open so I can like experience it for a couple of days.
Right. Yeah. I'm in the same boat. I'm going down to LA hopefully later this summer in August too, and I am more than excited to ride this ride multiple times like you. It's gonna be fun because we really don't know a whole lot about the details of it. We kind of have some ideas, I guess you'd say, but as far as the actual what the ride is going to be like on the inside, it's I guess kind of anyone's guess at this point.
Yeah, we do know some stuff at this point. We know that it's gonna be an original story set on the day of the Indominus Rex escape, like as seen in Jurassic World, and we know that Chris
Right.
Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, and BD Wong are reprising their roles, which is like super exciting. So I'm hoping
yeah.
it's gonna be like a side story kind of canon type thing because I'm all about the canon. Like Star Wars, I love the canon stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I'm a big fan of how like Jurassic and Universal are like kind of embracing the idea of having like a story canon now. And I'm
Right.
hoping this kind of plays into that, you know?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm excited to see how they take all of that and kind of fit it over the ride that's already in place. That's what I'm most curious about, is to see how they adapt the old ride to this new story that they're bringing, which I think, it has a lot of potential. It has a lot of potential, which I think is going to be good if they do it right.
Yeah, the most exciting part is like the updated animatronics. Like we know that it's gonna be a water ride still. Obviously, they can't really change that. The infrastructure is already in place, but we do know that there's still gonna be the Stega, the Parasaurolophus, the Raptor, Dilophosaurus Rex, with the inclusion of the Indominus Rex and the Mosasaur. So they have to
Right.
be updating those animatronics. Because like unfortunately, as much as I love the Jurassic Park ride to death, that's like my favorite thing on the planet. Some of the animatronics are very dated. Like the Stegosaurus doesn't
Very.
look very good, you know.
Yeah,
And like
I'm
Orlando and Singapore had like fantastic like figures there. I'm not sure why that the LA one was lagging behind so much, you know?
I don't know either. Yeah, because when we wrote it last summer, that's definitely the thing that sticks out, is kind of the old animatronics that they have on the ride, compared to some of the newer ones in Orlando. It's still fun. It's still, you get to ride, be in
incredible,
Jurassic Park. But yeah, that kind of takes you out of it a little bit when you see, old old animatronics rampaging around Jurassic Park. That kind of takes you out of it.
It's still very exciting to see though. It's like just going back on the ride. Like I remember just thinking back to last May for the Jurassic Park 25. We rode that ride so many times with so many different people, so many different groups of individuals too. Like it was still a fresh ride each time. And that stupid little 75-foot drop. I hate it, but I love it at the same time. Cause I die each time, but it's so much fun though. Like it gets you every single time, and you keep wanting to go back on it.
Who was it that lost a hat to it last time when y'all were there?
That was Ryan. We have a picture
Ryan.
of his hat right before it got lost. Yeah.
When I was a kid, when I went down to Orlando to the Universal Studios down there, and literally the exact same thing happened to me. I was wearing a hat.
You lost your article of clothing to history.
I lost. That's right. I donated it to Jurassic Park, which I'm fine with. I'll take.
That's the best place. That's the best place to lose it, in my opinion.
That's right. I'm right there with you.
And a pretty decent story too. It's a good story to have.
Yeah. I picked up a new hat after I lost it and said I survived Jurassic Park, but I got a new hat out of it, so I'm fine with that.
Exactly. What do you know about Battle at Big Rock, my friend?
I know I'm excited for it. It should be pretty good. The thing I like about Battle at Big Rock is it's going to be the first time that we get a tone, I think, for Jurassic World 3, because that's the first really thing in canon story live action that we're going to get post Fallen Kingdom, and I think it's really gonna set the tone for what we're gonna see in Jurassic World 3. Depending on who directs it, I'm hoping we get some good direction out of it.
Yeah, this is interesting. We don't know. There's not a lot out there about the Battle at Big Rock. We only know very few things. Like it was first hinted at by the release of the Dino Rivals Jurassic World toys, with the phrase saying "as seen in Battle of Big Rock" with the Allosaurus and the Pseudorops or whatever it's called. Yeah. It literally came out of nowhere, and we're all wondering like, what is this? And logically, we have to presume it's going to be a short film or like a 5-minute thing you put in front of a movie, which makes us think like, what movie could it actually be? Since a Universal project, it had to be like Hobbs and Shaw or something, right? So we expect it to be coming out sometime this summer. Hopefully, we find out more soon, but there's literally nothing known.
I'm excited. We did cover a little bit on Outpost. Just the little that we've known so far from the pictures that we've seen. There's going to be a van with some Washington D.C. license plates on it. So I mean, we think, I guess, from what we've seen, that it was filmed in Ireland. We know we have some reports that something was filmed in there. So our guess is that it's Battle of Big Rock. It's our best guess at this point. But there's that van. There's a big kind of, I don't know if they'll use it, but where they filmed it, there's a big mansion. The Power Court Estate, I think is what it was called. And animatronics, which is really exciting to see that we're going to get some animatronics in this short film.
Yeah, speaking of animatronics, like we know that Neil Scanlon is coming back for Jurassic World 3, and he did Fallen Kingdom. His stuff was fantastic. So if they can even do a quarter of that, like we're looking good for this short film. Aside from that, though, we know that Bryce Dallas Howard could be involved in this, right?
Maybe. It's kind of up in the air. In that interview she did, I know she was like, I wasn't there, but she was kind of coy about the way she said it. She's really, I guess, terrible at keeping secrets, which I'm fine with. I'll take the secrets that she talks about any day. But she kind of hinted that she wasn't there, but she definitely has some other stuff in the works. Like you said, she's doing that stuff for the ride, and she did some stuff with the Jurassic World Evolution video game too, which is
she's
exciting.
Honestly a really great ambassador for the franchise. Like I think if she became the face of the franchise, I'd be more than okay with that. Like Owen might be like the main character, quote unquote. We know that Claire's supposed to be her story, right? But like Owen's kind of like the main like marketing push. But like I love Bryce Dallas Howard as the face of the franchise going forward because she's so likable, you know.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I've never been sad or mad that she was a part of this. She's put a lot of time, she's put a lot of effort, and she's so, just from what I've seen, her interaction with fans and everything has always been super nice, super engaging. So I'm more than happy to see her even pushed even harder for this franchise.
And of course, Bryce Dallas Howard, her infectious laugh. I love her laugh, but I love it when she was let's just talk about it. Let's just do it. Let's get into this.
Let's get into it.
We know that the original 3 is coming back, just based off what Bryce Dallas
They've
Howard
got
said in
to.
the MTV interview.
Yeah,
Like we know that
they've got to.
That's-
They've got to.
How excited are you that? How excited are you to see Malcolm, Grant, and Ellie all together again? Hopefully.
I am ecstatic. This is exactly what I would want to see out of the end of this franchise. As long as they get the story right and they have like a really good way for them to come in. The possibilities are endless, and this could be make for a really really good Jurassic Park 6, as Colin tweeted about, which I think is a good thing. If they can bring him back in a good manner, then I'm all for it. I'm all for it. What about you? What do you think?
Like, are we gonna see Grant, Ellie, and Malcolm interacting with dinosaurs again? Or are we just gonna see Malcolm and the other two just like off on like the edge as like a small role?
It kind of like Malcolm was in Fallen Kingdom, where he was just kind of
it's like a talking, expository dialogues.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it kind of it's interesting to me. So I went back and watched Fallen Kingdom pretty recently, and I remember thinking when I watched it for the first time that the Malcolm that we saw in Fallen Kingdom wasn't really the Malcolm that I was used to. He just seemed kind of like a different kind of character. Obviously, still Jeff Goldblum-y kind of thing, but it seemed more Jeff Goldblum than Ian Malcolm to me. But when I went back and watched it again, I think what my hang-up was I was looking at him from a Lost World perspective, and I think the Lost World Malcolm is very different than Jurassic Park Malcolm.
Oh, absolutely,
When I went back and kind of watched Fallen Kingdom and just kind of looked at him just strictly from original Jurassic Park, it kind of character fit a little bit better, and it was more cohesive to me, which I kind of liked. And so as long as we kind of get him back in that kind of mode, or true Ian Malcolm mode, then I'm more than happy, and I think that we can do that with Grant and Ellie too.
I agree, but like my biggest thing is I want to see those three meet Blue and Owen. I just want to see how that entire interaction would play out, because it could be so funny, and like I think it just like the scene writes itself,
Oh, I agree. Like, there's no universe where I can see where Grant is just immediately on board with Blue being out in the world, or being just like existing, just because of all the interactions. There's just I cannot see that going well from the very start. Maybe I could see Grant warming up and just kind of getting back to kind of the wonder of, hey, this is a dinosaur. If we can get him back to that point, then I think that's going to be really really magical to see on screen. But just that initial meeting, I can't see that going well.
Like, I wonder what he thinks about Owen and Blue's relationship, because that's such a tight, and like it's like a man and his dog almost at some points.
Right.
I wonder what he thinks of like just even that idea. Like, oh, you can't do that, blah blah blah. But he sees it happen in his own with his own eyes, and it's like game changing for him. I don't know. I'm very excited to see what they'll do with that.
I'm excited too, because that's kind of I know we can't cover everything through these Jurassic World stories, but that's a part of the story, the canon, that I think is almost criminally underdeveloped. Is just like what these OG characters think about Jurassic World. I know we kind of got that a little bit with Malcolm in Fallen Kingdom, but it was so short and it was so quick, it really wasn't a whole lot. But just like, I just can't imagine all Grant and Sattler being okay with Jurassic World after everything they've been through. And I think throwing them back into the forefront, like you said, could be a really funny, could be really a good push for the canon.
Like, the thing that excites me the most about the original three returning is how, if we go back, I think it was like 2 or 3 years, maybe even 4 years at this point, Colin Trevorrow said that Jurassic World was based off, I think it was Alan Grant's quote in the dinner table, on the lunch table scene, and then Fallen Kingdom was based off of Malcolm's lines, and then Jurassic World 3 is going to be Ellie's lines. I'm hoping that, I'm just fingers crossed, Laura Dern plays the biggest role, because I think there's something about Laura Dern, man. She's like, it's like electric. She's just your eyes just go to her more than like the other two, which is incredible.
Yeah, you can't get enough Laura Dern. I mean, it was, to me, Laura Dern was easily the best part of different franchise, but The Last Jedi. I was so happy that she got put in that role. She was fantastic in that, and I'm really happy. I would be really excited to see her back as Ellie Sattler, because that's the dream right there.
That is the dream, because the best Jurassic Park sequel we've gotten so far has been Jurassic Park 3. Everyone knows this. Guess who's in that? Grant and Ellie. And guess what? Grant and Ellie are going to be back in the next one, hopefully. Fingers crossed, probably. So
Yeah.
we're looking at probably the best sequel already, just based off that simple deduction. So
And that's sound logic to me. I can't fight that one at all. If we get Ellie Sattler back, and do you think that they would put Grant and Sattler back together in some sort of like relationship after she was married in
oh man, I
Jurassic
hope
Park
so.
3?
I really hope they do. It's like, I love Jurassic Park 3, but that was like the dumbest part the entire time. I hated it so much.
It did seem to come out of nowhere.
Yeah, this is your chance to fix it. Just make it right. Make the world proper again, please. That's all we ask.
And what are they going to do with Charlie?
Charlie can just be off. He's like university or some shit now. It's fine.
He's with his dad.
He's a strange. He doesn't count. He's done.
Yeah, I completely agree. Put them back together. Throw Malcolm in the mix, kind of hitting on Ellie again, and let's get the original characters back. I'm so on board with that.
I love it. I love that, and I think that's a great place to end off this quick little introduction again to the InGeneral podcast. Of course, stay tuned. Yeah, stay tuned for the next episode coming in. I think next week, actually, just to do a quick back-to-back, a two-parter, if you will, a 1 and 2. If you remember that, guys, old listeners, 1s and 2s. That's right. Sandy's back. Corey, thank you so much for joining me on this introduction to InGeneral again.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This is a blast, man. I love doing it.
Anytime, brother. Anytime. Of course, we've been InGeneral 75, so listen to us more, please. We're back. I promise you we're back. And for the best coverage in the Jurassic World game, go to JurassicOutpost.com. Corey, thank you so much. Excellent episode.
Thank you, man. Yep, thank you.